Welcome to the Cory Lee Show, where our focus is on building leaders and transforming culture. My name is Cory Lee, and in each episode, I aspire to ignite something on the inside of you that encourages you to grow yourself and to make an impact on the world around you. Welcome to the Cory Lee Show. Well, hey guys, welcome back to the Cory Lee Show. I'm excited about the next conversation I'm having with a new friend and a new brother in Christ. Christian Johnson actually was introduced to Christian through a mutual connection that we have, and that connection, I was like, you know what, I trust the people that he knows. He knows good people, and whoever he introduces me to, I know is good people, and he introduced me to Christian, and as we were talking before we even started recording here, I know this is going to be good. And so, Christian, welcome to the Cory Lee Show.
Man, look, Cory, thank you so much. And to our friends who introduced us, super grateful for divine connections. I'm just honored. I'm excited. I like to have some fun. So let's go.
Let's go. Hey, I'm right there with you. I like the fun part right there. And so I'm going to just read a little bit of a bio to let those listeners know who you are and some of the things that you're doing today. We can jump into deeper stuff on that. But just to kind of give you guys an idea, Christian Johnson is a best-selling author, a speaker, and a present-centered leadership coach. And he's doing some other things now that I think is really cool too. But one of his passions is destroying distractions. I mean, that's big time. And continually reminding spiritually minded, high-achieving leaders who they are. Man, Christian, I love that. I love the intentionality of what you got right there. But can you take us on your journey? Tell us a little bit about, that's where you're at today, but how did you get to that point?
Oh, wow. Cory, how long do we have? No.
You know what? I got to pick up our kids at 3. So
Okay. Oh, no. Listen, he's joking, y'all. Don't go anywhere, okay? Yeah, so I guess I would have to go back to about 2015. I've been serving leaders through Purposeful Life Coaching is my LLC is the business. And so that's where I've been for, 10 years, helping high achieving, spiritually minded entrepreneurs, leaders just grow through personal development, through presence and inner work. And so throughout that time, I've always been bivocational. So I've been coaching. Also, I'm heavily involved in our local church of assisting our senior pastor as also an associate in the ministry. I'm leading teams and hosting podcasts as well. I got to have you on, so we got to do that, and writing some books. But through that whole journey, I was a very distracted person.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at that area where, for me, three main things I feel like God has really gifted me through, right, of what not to do. Okay, so stick with me, right? So main 3 things is destroying distractions, aligning with God, and fortifying your focus. And so for me, the first book that I did solo, my wife and I did a ton of books together within a marriage coaching and counseling. But my first book, that I really put out there is called When You're Speaking But Still Silent.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where that part where it hit my heart posture, where I was speaking on platforms, but what I was speaking weren't my words, because Cory said it, because Tony Robbins said it, because this pastor said it, because this entrepreneur said it. I was speaking what I thought they wanted to hear that would sell more high ticket, coaching programs, or that would do this or that would do that. And I had one person who knows me, I protect their name, but they said when I came off the stage, as Christian, it's really hard to listen to you, because I know who you are and what I'm hearing isn't really you.
Mm-hmm.
And that put me in a position where I said, man, I pulled off all social media. I know we had a little similarity within that, but I pulled off of all social media. Only thing I had was LinkedIn. And I really prayed and said, God, I really need to understand who I am and what I have, and not just be a parrot or suffer from mass messaging, mimicry, or anything like that. I want to be who you call Christian F. Johnson to be. And that took me on a journey of where I truly realized, you know what? I'm not the only one that's distracted. I'm not the only one that was suffering from mass messaging and mimicry and misalignment, but that God calls us to be who we are, and that's okay. And for that area, so destroying distractions is a huge part of, as I was leading and doing things, where I had this method that I talk about as a rinse method, make a long story short, where I take people through that area where My mom used to tell me, Christian, when you have irritation in your throat, I need you to get some warm salt water, swish it around in your mouth, and I need you to rinse and release that. And that became a message in my life where I was helping people, helping clients, helping leaders just to release those things that no longer serve them, to be able to identify some things, identify who they are, be able to be at a posture and a place to say, you know what? I have identified with where you are, Christian, but that's not serving my leadership. Now I need to truly be who God designed for me to be, and I need to go ahead and operate in a place to release the things that I'm called to release.
Man, that's so good. I'm curious what made you stick with the LinkedIn? You got rid of all the other ones, but what was it with LinkedIn?
Yeah, you know what? I think so. With Facebook, I was on Instagram. I just now reintroduced myself to that. TikTok and some other platforms I was on. There's a different type of person in LinkedIn, I'll say. Business minded. That's where the audience is. Not a lot of drama. And it seems like it was just more, I felt like a more respectful as well as centered to make change and to do business.
Mhm.
If you've done podcasting, so you put a podcast out there, somebody disagrees with it, they'll fry you, they'll talk, they'll do this, they'll do all those things. And then you find yourself in the social media thing, and there's clippers that are out there. You know what clippers are? What I call clippers. Clippers are those people who take a little message from what you said, right? A soundbite from this interview, and they take it and make it say something that it totally didn't say.
Yep.
And it was just a whole lot of that stuff going on, and I'm just not interested in those things. And when I was going through what I was going through a unfolding. I really went through a journey where I was learning God beyond religion. Now I am a Christian, I profess it, and that's who I am. But God took me on a journey to go beyond just the rules and the religion. And so as I was unfolding publicly, Cory. Like I was recording and doing podcasting and speaking publicly. So my journey, I felt exposed, like in Genesis, naked and unashamed. Well, I was naked and ashamed as I was doing some things and also being judged for some things that I fully hadn't developed. So I felt like God covered me, but also allowed me to pull away from a lot of the noise and distraction and allowed me to focus my energy and my space into one place that could build kingdom advancement and also help me to develop in a safe place.
Yeah. Man, as I listen to you, it's interesting. So my background, I started doing speaking, coaching, training, and those kind of things through John Maxwell, right? And so yeah, I loved what you said, mimic the John Maxwell stuff, right? And one day I was doing a training with a friend and his team, and he meant this as a compliment. He meant this as a compliment, but I didn't like what he said internally,
Mm.
right? He said, "Corey, when I hear you, I hear John Maxwell." And I was like, exactly what you said. I don't wanna be John Max. I wanna be me. I like John. There's
Mhm.
nothing wrong with that, right? He's got
We love
this.
you, John. We love you.
Yeah, right. I know you listening. But I wanna be me. I don't wanna be anybody else. But whenever he said that again, he meant it as a compliment. It was actually an eye opener. It was like, you really need to do what you said, kinda sit with the Lord and to discover who He's created you to be. And it seems like that is a journey, right? You gotta start somewhere. I'm curious for you though, you said the Lord brought you into that. Like, how did you know the tugging, if you will, the tugging, how did you know that that's what the Lord was inviting you into? Like, did the clouds roll back and this big booming voice come down and say, "Christian, get off of social media," right? Like, how did you process hearing his
No,
voice for that?
it was exposure, and not in a positive way. It was pain, to be honest with you. That person that I was talking about said some things that were true, but it hurt. But it was a loving course correction, now that I can get through it, of God, of Holy Spirit, to say, I love you so much that the followers that you want, the social media world, right? The clients that you want, the now, that I do personal development, emceeing, all those stages and different things that you are on and you're doing. Before I really release you to the world, I need you to be you. Right. I need you to be in a place. So he allowed me to come from a place where you talk about wrestling with God. I'm wrestling. Well, if this is what ministry is going to be, then I don't want no parts of it. If this is going on in my mind, if this is what this looks like, I even dealt with I'll just be honest with you, my own people, right? I'll talk about African American. I love us. We're awesome. We're awesome. But I even seen an area where it was like a disconnect that was judging in my own area of community. And then I would see some of my other brothers and sisters who would be more willing to give it an area of opportunity. I just seen a whole lot of things, and that's why God even took me through like beyond race, beyond culture, beyond gender, all those things back to the I am. And
Mm.
in those moments, it's like I am God, like, and because of God is who God is, whatever you need that attaches to I am, he becomes. In that time and place, I just needed a comforter. I needed one to give me clarity. I needed one to give me unconditional love. I needed one to give me understanding because there's so much noise in the earth. And what got me to the place is when I got this revelation right here, and I'll share it with you and share it with our audience, okay? Now,
Get
I
your
share from a
pens ready.
Christ
I know
centered
this is gonna be good. I got mine.
a Christ-centered perspective, but go with me. Whether you believe the same thing I do or not, that's okay. These principles are transferable, okay? What I realized through the model of Jesus the Christ is he's fully present in the earth, but he's not of the earth. He
Mhm.
fully is operating in the earth realm, but he's connected to a realm that we'll call heaven. And I'm not just talking about heaven that you go when you die, okay? I'm talking about actively in a realm. Scripturally, in the scriptures, is about at least 3 realms of heaven that it talks about. And so when I seen the model as the disciples would pray, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven, I started falling in love with a kingdom perspective of what the realm of heaven is, and that it's my job to cooperate with God within me to release what is in the realm of heaven on earth. And that's when I got this clarity of, wait a minute, Christian, your ministry is kingdom. It's not just in the 4 walls of the church. It's not just in here. It's not just in there. You can't box me in. And whether it's coaching or emceeing or writing a book, that you can, here we go. I'll give you this other point too. I'm on. You got the preacher in me
Hey,
waking up right
keep
now. Okay,
going,
Corey?
man. That's
Listen,
good.
you can be in a season, in a place, in a time where you're realizing that all you've done and what you've built, it was about you, but it was false advertisement. I realized I was trying to build this brand that was about me, and kingdom isn't about me. Kingdom is about the king. It's about love. It's about passion. It's about caring for people. And when I realized, wait a minute, I've been suffering from the remnants of the earth. I need to tap into this realm of heaven and say, you know what? There's no sickness in the realm of heaven. Why am I releasing it here on earth? There's
Mm.
not the area of hate and judgment and racism and all those things. And then why am I why I have authority in the keys. We have authority and keys of the kingdom to release them here. And by all costs, we have to do those things. And I just started just experiencing and expressing love. Just love.
Mm.
And releasing that and seeing how that would change things. And that helped me to realize that this is a distraction, not always an attack. Sometimes it's alignment because there's some things we need to release in the earth that God didn't give us to us to carry and have those burdens, and we connect with those realms. So I'm saying a lot, but just hear my heart when I'm saying, like, I believe that we have a dual citizenship.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And we've been sent here on an assignment. And the easier, the more serious we are about knowing the assignment, understanding the assignment, hearing that, and even through its pain. So somebody might be listening, they say, well, Christian, I heard what you said, but how did you hear the voice of God? Or what does that look like to you? I would even ask you to start at this place if you're taking notes. What is frustrating you in the earth? What do people come to you about? Like they don't like unsolicited, like they just come to you like, Corey, hey, how you doing? I need you to fix XYZ. Like, what is it that they just naturally come to you about? These are signs from God. These are signs from the universe, whatever you want to call it. These are signs that are letting you know that I've gifted you in this place. And I realized people were distracted. People were looking for something beyond the earth. People were in pain. People had vision, but didn't have anybody to help carry it that they could trust. And then God had me to fill that gap.
Wow. Ooh, that can we get an amen from those in the back?
Ah!
That's good. Man, I'm just listening to you, and it's so good because I feel like God's got me on the very similar journey. You said something that I wasn't gonna share this because I want this podcast to be about you, but I think, I hope this will add light to some of the conversation.
It's
Um,
us.
yeah, there you go, man. I got the opportunity, this is probably about a month ago, to officiate my first wedding, right? And, yeah, it was kinda cool. And I'm actually, I'm working on a teaching on this, and so this is kinda the first time I put this out there publicly, but the night before the wedding, we do the rehearsal thing, right? And so do that, and then the next morning, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna do my normal thing. I'm gonna pray, I'm gonna read, I'm gonna go do my long run, those kind of things. And while I'm praying, the Lord showed me the night before that at the rehearsal dinner, I was kind of isolated. Me, my wife, and maybe one other adult were the only ones not drinking. And in those, I'm not very comfortable in those settings. And so what I'll do is I'll isolate and hang out with the people who are not drinking or hang out with kids. And one of the things the Lord started showing to me was like, you can't, exactly what you said, don't isolate yourself. You got to be in the world, the people. You've got to display the love, right? Like you've got to do that. Your love, my love in you, flowing through you to the people. Just talk to people. And so what he showed me was I needed to be very intentional about connecting with people at the wedding. I go and I start just like, Christian, how you doing? Right? And people just start opening up. They just, that's all I said. How you doing? And they start opening up about their spouse had just passed away, their wife isn't doing good, or new jobs, all this stuff. I'm like, wow, and just listening and intently listening. Well, from that, I talked to a guy, and he just opened up about his wife, and man, I got to pray with her there, and it was just a beautiful thing. And so, anyway, what you're saying there, man, you're not of the earth, but you got to be in the earth to connect
Yeah.
with the people. And so, yeah.
Can I jump on something you just said real
Yes,
quick?
go for it.
Because it just hit my heart. Because look, I grew up in that realm as well. If somebody was doing something I'm not in agreement with, I just didn't want to be around it totally. And I still am very protective about my energy and how I operate. But greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. And so it hits me in a place where we got to live and demonstrate the power that we have. And that first power, I believe, is that Arab, like you're saying, love. Like love casts out all fear. Love is patient, is kindness, not jealous, it's not easily angered. It keeps no record of self. It doesn't give up. And so looking at those things, I'm like, how can we put ourselves uncomfortable in some situations to be comforting and leaning on and trusting in God? And that's some of the very things that we get to do. Not that we have to do, what we get to do. It's an honor. God will take a bad situation and make it a good opportunity for him to get glory. And that is powerful, especially in what we call the world, right? But we can't just be around everybody that just quotes John 3:16 and everything else like that. That's not the model that Jesus did. And neither do we need to portray that we are better and this and this and that. But as a matter of fact, can we be servants? Can we sit with Zacchaeus? Can we serve? Can we come alongside? See, the power in MCing that I do as a personal development MC, I get to tag team with Cory's vision for his event or for his conference. It's not about me. Oh, it's a beautiful place where I get to take the coach, I get to take the minister, I get to take the podcast host and introduction. I get to walk alongside and share my light to tag team with a vision and a mission and help it to come to pass where they get to experience the Christ in flesh through every aspect. When I introduce a guest, when I come to an area of a transition, when I pause the audience and say, did y'all hear what Cory said about this? Let's lean into this. How can this transform our mind and our heart and come to an area of a powerful call to action? It's tag teaming, it's kingdom expansion, and it's not necessarily with me having my I Love Jesus t-shirt on. And guess what? Some of those environments have been some of the best environments to be in. And somebody pulls me aside and says, hey, it's something about you. Oh, yes, let's have a conversation to talk about that. And so I love it. It's like we're secret agents. Well, not secret now because it's a public podcast, but anyway.
There you go, 100%, man. And I was reading yesterday. I think this is in Isaiah 8 or either 18, but he said the Lord was the word of the Lord was on me strongly, and he said to me not to call a conspiracy everything that other people call conspiracy, and do not fear what other people
Oh,
fear. And here's my question to you.
oh.
Uh, how do you discern what is a distraction? Because sometimes distractions can look like an opportunity, if you will, or
Mhm.
something that's important for you. When you're discerning that for yourself, like how do you do that?
Yeah, thank you. Great question. I love that 100%, right? So for me, first, it's identifying even your assignment in the earth and what you're doing. Like that is key. If we don't know that, it's hard to identify what a distraction is, right? And even look at the word distractions, it helps us. If you take that DI, all the DISs in our life, right? If I'm discontent, disagreement, all those things are clues in our life. But when you take distraction, you to remove the DIS, then you have traction. Right. And then you take the TR away, then you have action. So for me, a distraction is anything that is hindering me from building that divine traction that leads into that God action. And so looking at that, I get to see, okay, Christian, if you're about three things, destroying distractions, aligning with God, fortifying focus, that's the focus. That's where I am. So as we're in a conversation, should I get on this interview with Cory? All right, so let's talk it through. Let me see. Am I able to talk about the area of distractions? Am I able to help align people with God? Am I able to help fortify focus? Yes. Okay, check. Let's move forward with that. It might not be about the check per se, right? The check as in money, cash, pertaining to that, but it's a God thing that helps me with that. Okay, it's transferable in every environment, not just in the business, but in my household. Can I help my wife and my twins that are 16 and my 11-year-old son destroy distractions when I identify what my call and my assignment is? And it's not just boxed into coaching, and my writing is the same thing. While I'm emceeing or I'm preaching, all of it, who I am, who Jesus is in the earth, everywhere it works. Everywhere it works. And so when you're able to identify who you are and what that expression is in the earth, it helps to lead you to see what a distraction is and what you can say yes to and no to, or, and what I always say, what I'm not, I'm connected to. And so looking through that area of the distractions, what in your life, those DISs in your life that you need to get rid of that's hindering you from the thing that you know in your heart and mind. So first, be still and know the I am. Be still and know what you have. And you don't have to look for the external validation. Like there's something pregnant inside of you. Look at Elizabeth in the scripture. Look at Mary. We're coming in on, at the time of this recording, the Christmas season, and looking at those things where Mary is old. Mary's at a place of saying, what? What? I'm going to be pregnant? Gabriel's like, yes, you're going to be pregnant, right? And there's a difference between what God gives you inside of your heart and mind versus what it is that man may want to give you. And I just believe that in the season when God speaks to you, source, beauty, life, whatever you want to call it, when God speaks to you, he affirms something that only he can do. Here is a woman who is a virgin. Here is a woman who has not been touched by anybody. And the Holy Spirit, watch this. This is the same spirit in Genesis 1 when it says there was a hovering over the dark. There was this incubus. The same spirit in Genesis is the same spirit that hovers upon Mary and gives her something. Mary's not the only one carrying Christ. We are as well the Messiah, the anointed one. So once we know what it is, it's protecting that thing at all costs. And when we release it, the world can continue to expand for us, the kingdom.
Man, somebody better put some fire emojis in the chat or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, man, that is so good and so true. And um, I think another thought that I have for you right there, because there's a step before that distraction. It sounds like, and that's identifying, your. I like the language you use, your role in the earth right there.
Mhm.
And you mentioned a couple of ways, and that's to get quiet, and then what are some of those things that people come to you and ask you about? And but for you, when you were in that journey, you kind of got off of social media for a little bit, and you went and just sat at the feet of Jesus. Was there a specific moment that it clicked with you, or were there like little nuggets along the way? Like, how did you begin to process that? That these are my three.
Yeah, actually, writing has been therapy for me.
Okay.
Okay. So the books that I write, a lot of those moments come. Matter of fact, the book I'm talking about, When You're Speaking But Still Silent, came out of that season,
Wow.
and that's how I love even the area of the Bible because I'm like, I get it. Like Holy Spirit speaking to you and you writing. That was therapy for me. That was an area for me to say, okay, this is what. No, I didn't know if that book was going to go out to the world. Sometimes you got to write the book that nobody may read
Yeah.
just so that you can see the journey, write the vision, and make it plain. That was therapy for me as I was able to release things that were no longer serving me. And I believe in, yes, it's divine connection to God, but also man. So I've had mentors, I have different people in my life to help shape and guide me as well. There's a group of men that I meet with on weekly, more of a prophetic group to really help. And so we cast vision, we share things, and it's not just an amen group. It's a group that says, "Hey, you are acting like a plumb fool. You need to talk to your wife and go back home and do what needs to be done." It's that group that I can talk about business with, the group that we can talk about finances with as well. So having a community is super important as well while you're discerning those things. Obviously, the word. And for me, I do a lot of praying and meditation and breath work. Actually, I do breathing and receiving and taking a lot of time just to be still and just to know. So for me in that season, as I went through, God will give me confirmation and affirmation. So it's like you just mentioned something that connected to something that I thought about yesterday. That's a God thing.
Yeah.
How in the world can we even figure it out? So now I can took that in my biblical blues clues, and I can go ahead and write that down and say, you know, I need to pay attention to that, right? It's my second time hearing that thing, right? And then here's another thing: God gives us power to make decisions. He did not create robots. So sometimes we are so afraid to move forward in a direction because we don't make the wrong decision. And I believe that God will, I believe he specializes in detours. So
Yes.
even if I have a heart to serve him and it's the wrong way, he will navigate, he will guide me and lead me. So I didn't know. I thought, okay, Christian, you'll just be coaching. I had no idea that this word of emceeing was out there. And then I didn't realize that other opportunities. I'm learning to say yes and amen as it aligns to who I am and what I have. And sometimes we put our identity in the thing. I am an entrepreneur. I am a leader, pastor. I am this, I am that. And there are these titles, and God's saying, I don't care about the titles. I care about the expression and what it is of having your yes. And so that yes and understanding it, just continue to say yes to the things of God when you have that confirmation affirmation. And if you're still discerning the voice, keep doing things. Something simple may be crazy, like go into this grocery store. Why would I need to go in this grocery store? I literally, seriously, Cory, that was some of my training, the hearing and knowing the voice of God. I would go in a grocery store and I would get an image in my mind. This might sound a little crazy for some people, okay? It might be a man in a red shirt. And I might hear, and I started asking questions and doing this and doing it. And there was a training to now at this point, like I know the voice of God within me, not necessarily audible. It's a silent whisper sometimes in my spirit, in my mindset, in my imagination. And I learned to trust those things. And if I have a question, I can go back into the manual and make sure that it's aligned with the things that I'm seeing and I'm feeling and sharing. So I hope I answered your question within all that, but
Man, I love that 100%, and, you what you I like to think about it as, like, pulling the thread right there. You just kinda like
ooh.
saying, "Yes, oh, I get an image," and I just kinda follow it, and I love what you said, asking questions. Anytime you feel like some of that I is the Lord's inviting you into a conversation, and tell me more about that. What does that mean? Yeah, I love that 100%, man.
Yeah,
So
and
good.
sometimes you're wrong. I can
Yeah.
remember one time, for instance, like while we were talking, we didn't talk about kids or anything. I don't know. Do you have a daughter?
I do, I've got one.
Okay. Well, okay. So that's me asking questions. So we're talking. I get an impression of a female that I'm interpreting to be a daughter, right? Who is amazingly gifted, right? Amazingly powerful, right? And in the area of confidence, there's a God confidence that God is doing something in the heart and mind of your daughter to release her in a posture and a place where she's going to be the queen that God has called for her to go ahead and be. And so, as a father, as those who are around covering and loving, it's a season where you feel like I'm constantly encouraging and giving her the love of Christ so she knows a pure love to help discern in that area. I wouldn't know any of those things. I never met your daughter. I don't know any, I could be dead wrong, but I trust the voice inside to say, okay, do you have a daughter? And does any of that connect?
And I would say as you were speaking on that, I could feel the presence of the Lord, right? Like, not trying to make something happen, but I could just again, discerning the voice of the Lord in my own life, I could feel as you began to start speaking, I could feel confirming that, right? Yeah. So good. Oh, you mentioned kinda I love how you just, like, taking the steps, go to the grocery store, take the steps, and you're just learning, and I also love what you said because I found myself in that space at times as well of, "Well, I don't wanna make the wrong choice, I don't wanna make the wrong mistake," and had a guy say one time something really powerful. He said that when he was growing up, he would go to during the summer, he would go to his grandparents' house, and his grandparents lived a whole other state away, right? And so he didn't know anything about this town. And they would go, and his granddad would say, "Let's go get ice cream." They would get in the car, and they would come to a red light or a stop sign, and the granddad would say, "Which way? Do we go straight, left, or right?" Granddad would not move until he said left, right, or straight. And so he would
Mm,
tell him, he'd say, "Go right," come to another red light, and you say, "Which way?" He wouldn't even go until he would tell him left, right, or straight. He said it never failed. They would get to the ice cream shop. And
mm,
he said he reflected on that, and that his granddad was a mail carrier in that city. And so that any wrong turn that he may have said, he was able to redirect and always get to the ice cream shop. And when he said that, I was like, "Man, that's Jesus right there." I don't
mm.
he wasn't talking in a Christian space right there. I was like, "No, that's the Lord right there now. The Lord,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
exactly what the Lord does." Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
I've got a question for you here, and I think this may help a lot of people. What's a day in the life of Christian Johnson look like?
Oh, man. Okay, let's go with getting up in the morning. Well, let's start that. Let's start it. Let's do it the opposite. Let's go with the night before, because I think for me that is really transformation. I believe that what you lay down with. I'm a person that I love soaking music. I love to read a devotional, a book, or something like that. Being a mindset of prayer to kind of set up my night. Okay, I'm typically getting up about 2 times in the middle of the night. As you get older, you know you're you know, your body tells you to get up and go.
Yeah.
But as I get up, I try to be grateful in the morning and just say, all right, I'm for breath in my body. I'm grateful for this. If I look at my wife that's next to me, I'm like, I'm grateful for that. Right.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's an area where I am sitting there to say, what do I need to release that no longer is serving me? Maybe I got up because I realized that this financial bill is due for the business, or this is due, and it tries to weigh me down. So I try to release that right there in the area of bed and gratitude. Right. Eventually, I do pick up my phone because we're all programmed to come from that area and aspect. But then I get from there, I get out, shower, do whatever needs to be done, get in devotional time, and then I hop into my office. And that's typically looking at the area of LinkedIn and or writing or doing some things of the sort of that. And from there, serving my wife, serving my kids. Like I said, I have twins that are 16, and then I have 11-year-old son, and my wife and I have been married for 18 years. She also has her own business as well, and so we do life there, and then outside of that is pretty much ministry and serving community and people, and that's pretty much the circle that we go in. I spend a lot of time on Zooms, and talking to people and learning and connecting, and as well as emceeing and coaching and just sharing the message of Christ and the books that I share. So in a nutshell, that's where I'm at.
Man, I love that. What about, this is more of a personal question for me, I guess. How do
Sure.
you personally use LinkedIn? Like, how are you using that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Business, pretty much. I mean, it's the area where for me, let's say, far as which I guess people would say prospecting. I call it relationship building. But far as prospecting is concerned, like it's my main content where on Monday, like I launch a present center perspective. And that's just from that leadership perspective, what I'm doing from there. But let's say, I put something out there in a group that called believers in business and you like it, and then I would go there and would say, okay, well, maybe I'll connect with Corey, check out Corey's page and kind of see if there's some similarities, so forth and so on. I would make a connection with you. And then we would talk in the DM and invite you into an area of a call. That call is not necessarily a sales call or anything like that. It's just alignment. It's like what we're doing right now to see what's going on. Then from that call, really to see if I have somebody in my network that I can connect you with to kind of help expand that and or with me. And then it's kind of building from that particular area. I've received podcast opportunities. I've received business. I've received and connect many people through that. I believe it's a very gifted, powerful platform. Some people say that millions are made on the golf course. I believe that they are made in LinkedIn. And so it is amazing thing where like-mindedness and power comes in. So that's a number way where the brand is being built and just connecting with people. Got some longtime friends now from that environment as well. It's a mature platform that's not about the noise. Now there are some people that are in my inbox every day trying to sell me a magazine cover or trying to do this or do that. You use your discernment to come from there, but there truly are people that truly care about you. And I'm interested in building relationships and not just being on a platform to try to make a sale. And it's been the one that's proven to be the best one for me in this day and time.
Yeah, I like that. I love how intentional you are as well with that. I think there's a lot there. Well, I know I want to honor you and your time, and so let's say there's somebody listening and they want to find out more about your MCing. They want to find out more about, man, I feel distracted. I need to connect with Christian, and maybe they want to connect with you about business opportunities. They want to find your books. What's the best way for someone to get in touch with you, Christian?
Well, here we go. This is gonna be funny. Typically, I would give you all types of links and different things like that. What I will make it real simple and easy for our audience. If you want to connect, whether it's my personal development, emceeing, coaching, my books, or anything, connect with me on LinkedIn. You're gonna find me on I am Christian F. Johnson. Make a connection. Say I heard you on the Cory Lee Show, and let's talk. Like, let's talk. Let's build a relationship. We'll see what God does from there. If I can serve you, that's amazing. If I can put a resource in your hand, or if I can serve you by the way of, emceeing or anything like that. But let's make the connection on LinkedIn and see what God can do from there. So I am Christian F. Johnson, LinkedIn.
Awesome. We'll put that in the show notes as well, so it's easy. Click that button, go right
Yeah,
to him there.
yeah.
Well, Christian, man, I have truly appreciated you, and you've added a ton of value to me. I know you have to our listeners as well, and I love your passion, your enthusiasm, and just your authenticity. I think that's needed today, and you carry that, and you can tell that there is something different about you. There's something different about that dude right there,
Right.
and love that, man. So thank you for coming on, Christian.
Thank you for having me, and blessings to you as well as our audience. And it truly is my prayer that good, great, and awesomeness will continue to flow to and through you all the days of your leadership, your career, everything that you are doing. Just if I can leave you with this thought, be in a place where you are very aware of your now.
Mm,
Like, be present in the moment.
yeah.
There's so much value in being present. You and I both have things to do right after this, but the most important thing right now is you and our listeners, because this is right here is where we are. There are some things of just moving forward. We continue to move forward and go to the next thing, and we miss being present and present centered. That's what that leadership asks. Let's be present in the present of God to move forward. There are some things in the right now faith that is going to encourage you and equip you as you're continuing to build. So stay present and stay in purpose.
Amen. Yeah, I love that. That's so good. Well, thank you, Christian. And thank you guys for taking a listen. I highly encourage you to reach out to Christian, follow him, get some of his books. I know it's going to be, and I haven't read any yet, but after talking to it, I know it's going to be good. I need to check them out as well. And so thank you guys for taking a listen. Make sure you like and subscribe so you can stay up to date with any of the latest episodes of the Cory Lee Show. And we hope you guys have a great day and God bless.
3, 2, 1.
Thanks for joining me today. I hope I have added value to you. And if you have found value in this episode, let me know. Drop a comment and make sure you share with a friend or family member. See you next episode.